welcome on behalf of Together for LA. My name's John, and I'll be facilitating today's webinar. We've got some great information to share with you today, and looking forward to hearing from all of you in your experience and what you might need from in support of your recovery and getting business back up and running. Just a quick housekeeping: if you have a question or you'd like to offer a comment, at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a Q&A opportunity. Just use that. We'll be monitoring that through the presentation, and then we'll turn to you. We're also going to be asking you a couple questions towards the end of today's webinar, and would love your feedback directly about your experience as business owners in Los Angeles, whether you've been directly impacted or indirectly impacted. To get us started off today, though, I'd like to turn it over to the County of Los Angeles with Layla Lee from the Department of Economic Opportunity to give an update on some of the resources that they're coordinating right now and a timeline for some of the new resources that are coming up to speed. So Layla, if I could turn it to you.
Thank you, John. And if I may, I'm going to share my screen. Is it okay? I think that's the easiest way to share everything with everyone. Give me a second. Oops, I think I sent a request. Thank you. So here you go. Can you see my screen? Thank you. So yes, thank you for having me. If you haven't been to this website already, it's called, you can find it at bit.ly/DEO wildfire response. If you're not familiar with DEO, our Department of Economic Opportunity, we provide job training, entrepreneurship support, and small business services. But in addition to that, through the wildfire, we really focus on mobilizing resources, partners, and programs to support those that have been impacted by the wildfires and windstorms of 2025. The first thing that I do want to reemphasize here is please go to our website. We have the latest grants, the latest information, including the latest events and presentations that are taking place throughout the county. And I'll try to go a little bit faster because I'm sure most of you have probably heard this information. I know some of the grants that we are kind of tracking is obviously the SBA loans, because they give 4% interest rates, as low as 4%, up to 30 years to pay back loans, and the first payment deferred for the first 12 months. But we're also talking widely about the state loans, the Disaster Relief Loan Guarantee Program, the Jumpstart Loan Program, and also the CalCap, which is another program provided by the State Treasurer's Office. In fact, I think I'll put it on the link, but the State Treasurer also has a really good booklet of resources that you should look into, and they're all resources that are provided by the state. But I'll put that on the chat after my presentation. Some other loans that you should also consider, for instance, the Jewish Free Loan Association, they give up to $25,000 with interest-free loans. It is a loan, but there's no interest. PACE also has a loan for up to $5,000, and also obviously the CFIs that are all over our county. And I'll share a list of them on the next slide. But in addition to that, we're also tracking all the different grants. So today I want to share a little bit about our county and city grant that's going to come to the fold. We're presenting it probably by next week. We're hoping to launch it by Friday. This you can find out a little bit of information right now at lacounty.gov /relief, but the website itself is going to be different. So this is not the application website, but mainly it is the website to get information about the overall, like the different funds that the county is standing up. This one is being stood up with this in coordination and partnership with the city of LA. Some of the documents that you'll be asked to provide is documents that are typical of other loans, and Rosa, please add on as you think of other ones. But we're talking about government ID. We need to see your business license. We need to see your information that shows that you're actually in an LLC or a partnership, and some of the other items that we will be asking for is because we're providing larger loans for businesses that are brick and mortar businesses that have been destroyed or have incurred some damage, we are going to be asking for, documentation that shows that you're in fact not only the owner of the business, but also you have a business within that location, within that zone. I don't know, Rosa, did you want to add anything else to that?
Layla, I think you've covered all of the items, but what's really important is for you to all understand that there are going to be some documents that are going to be required, but we also will have, the technical assistance support in the event that you need any assistance in submitting the documents, uploading, or just anything that you may need.
Yeah, and I want to add, like right now, I think next week we're doing training for all of our TA providers. There are the business source centers that throughout the city of LA. We also have our economic mobility partners as well as our office small business. They're all going to be ready to by the next week to help every business apply to this grant. This is an evolving grant, so we hope that as more funding comes in and more is donated, we're able to provide even more support. But we are prioritizing at this point. The first tier will be for businesses that have been fully destroyed. But in addition to that, we also put a set aside for businesses that are working from home-based businesses, as well as independent contractors, because we know that many home-based businesses, they lost all their inventory, they lost their equipment. So we want to make sure that we provide you some funding to kind of get back on your feet. And so that there is a set aside just for that as well. Next, and I just want to highlight here, any document that we're asking for is not so much to make life difficult, because we know how difficult it is to get documents and we don't want to provide barriers to access to cash and support. However, we do want to prevent fraud, so just, I hope, as you apply, everyone's very understanding of the situation that we're also trying to manage. There's also some disaster grants that are available through different organizations. Some of them have already, they're fully spent, but some of them are be available. Some of them are like evolving, because like ours, they're always available as they get more support and donations. You can find them at our website. These are some that we're aware of. There's new ones always coming online. So please visit our website and we'll make sure that we share those with you as they become available. I do recommend right now, not only for people to consider going through the city's business source centers, as well as our office small business within the county and the economic mobility initiative centers, but also all of our CDFIs that are all over the county. Essentially, these CDFIs, commercial development, financial institutions, they were stood up by the Department of Treasury just to really support small businesses that have they have hardships accessing capital, right? So if you have been denied by SBA, for instance, or if they've given you a large interest rate that you don't feel like you can really afford at this time, I do encourage you to connect with one of these CDFIs and just see what services they have. They all are, and by the way, they're all different. So one loan package, one company may provide you a loan package that the other might not provide. So I do, encourage you all to explore. But in addition to that, a lot of these CDFIs, they'll help you also connect to the right resources that are available out there, right? Different grants and different loan programs. I highly encourage you to kind of look over these websites as you try to access more capital to support on your recovery. In addition to this, we also have some worker grants that are available right now. Entertainment Community Fund, they have a worker grant. So does the Center for Cultural Innovation and the Restaurant Cares. Again, please share this widely. I don't know if there's funding still available, but many of these grants, even if they don't have money anymore right now at this moment, they will continue on as more money comes in, more donations are made to their organization. In addition to that, we do the city has their workforce centers. When I apologize, we don't have this on the screen. They have their workforce centers, but the county, we also have our America's Job Centers. And what's really great about it, even as a business, if you're having hard time, if you want to support your workers, or if you need help hiring and training and providing unemployment insurance and layoff aversion services, you do want to get connected to our America's Job Centers. LAEDC is also like somebody that both the city and the county also works with to do layoff aversion, provide you layoff aversion services. So please take advantage of these resources as they become available to you. And obviously we have our EDD department, which provides, they are right now 24/7 providing English and Spanish support for those that have been victimized by this disaster. And they're waiving any waiting period for those that need, they need support now. Today's the last day for the Pasadena PCC education, the disaster center. As you may all know, Altadena Disaster Center, now it's open and started open since last Monday. UCLA will continue to stay open. And all of our partners are there to support you, including those that I share with you today: LAEDC, the business source centers, the workforce centers, the AGCCs, etc.
Layla, before you come off that slide, could you go back 1 second? Could you speak to the idea of what someone might expect if they have yet to come to one of these disaster resource centers for their business? What's the experience like? What should they come to expect from that experience?
I think, and I want to be very honest with you, there's a lot of different tables, many resource providers that are providing business. It's your opportunity to talk to people one-on-one about your what situation you're in and get the support that you need. Because a lot of times, as you may know, like even when you're talking to EDD, they make you wait for a long time on the phone, for instance, or some other, I don't want to just, but it could be our agency. I don't know what people's experiences are, but sometimes just talking to somebody, face to face, I think it just makes the world of difference. But in addition to that, I think what we're trying to do with the city and the county, we've been taking for businesses, we've been taking a survey. Do stop by our tables to take the survey, and I think I'll also share the bit.ly to our survey right now in case you want to have it. But the reason why we're taking the survey is we also need to advocate on your behalf. We need to understand, what are the needs? Where do you need us to step up? What are you not finding as you're looking for help? So I don't want to say that we have all the answers when you go there, but I think, we can provide all available resources that we do have available, but we're also trying to understand like what your specific needs are. And I don't know, Rosa, if you want to add anything to that.
I think it's as a business owner, we want to hear from you, and so Layla will be providing the link, to the survey. I actually have also a QR code on one of my slides. Please make sure take a picture with your cell phone. It's important for us to receive your input because we're at the forefront advocating on your behalf and making sure that resources are coming to our region to support the recovery and the challenges that you are facing. So I know it's asking for a lot, but take a few minutes, give us some input so that then we have some concrete information that we can take to to those that need to hear it, so that those resources keep coming to Los Angeles.
Yeah, and I think full transparency, we just see the resources that are coming, in terms of financial aid to house those that lost their homes. I think sometimes what businesses, as you know, is a little more scarce, right? So we need that information to advocate on your behalf, to be able to say, this is what our region needs, this is what the businesses need, so please help us understand exactly what resources you need to take the next step forward. We also have within the county, we have our Office of Small Business, is accessible through email, online. You can make an appointment. They can provide referrals to all the different resources that are available, including those that I'm sharing with you today. But again, we want to be your helping hand throughout your recovery process. So help us do whatever we can to support you. I can't emphasize that enough, because if you're having, one thing that we don't want, the message that we want to send to everyone here is just that, you're not alone and we're here for you. And just because a resource doesn't exist, it doesn't mean that we can't make it exist eventually. So, but we need to know what that resource needs to be, right? We also, and I'll skip this one because we're here already, the Together for LA. And then the other one that I want to share is we come together, we're trying to learn from our lessons from COVID-19 and streamline the information as easily as possible. The TA assistance that I was telling you about is actually on this flyer. But if you go to bit.ly/LA Regional Resources, we come together with the SBA, the Governor's Office, the California Department of Insurance, Pasadena Economic Development Office, as well as EWD and our office. We come together to kind of just, what can we do to make it easier? What can we do to make it easier for you to access information and resources that you need? So we kind of came up with this flyer that's really accessible. Please go to this bit.ly because we're trying to update it as more resources become available. The technical assistance providers that I was talking about are all accessible through here. As you can see here on the second page of this flyer is all of the city's business source centers. Above it, you see the SBA and GoBiz SBDCs that they're also providing the same help. LA County EMI partners, if you sign up, we also provide the same type of help. And then obviously you have the Office of Small Business. So please take advantage of what is available for you for free at this time. Oops, I don't want to skip this one. We also have legal aid services. So the city and the county also have partnered through this program, LA Legal Help, and not only for this in response to the disaster, but we also partner in response to the needs of small business to get free legal help because we know how expensive it is. So with legal aid, they help with commercial lease, they help with guidance for tenant rights and eviction protection, but at this time, they're also doing a lot of work to helping people navigate insurance policy and claims. So if you're talking to your insurance policy and you need a little more help and support, especially if, especially sometimes it's a lot of legal language, right? And navigating through that, it can be very overwhelming. They're here for you to kind of support too. But in addition to that, on other, aside from the recovery, they help you with debt negotiation, contracts, pretty much like anything you need in terms of legal support. We also, and if there's more time later, I do want to show you the B2B space share.lacounty.gov, which is a centralized place for people to share new space with you. So then you can relocate temporarily for free. We're talking daily with different companies that now are working through their internal processes to upload locations for you online. There is, for some the agreement is really between you and the person that's putting the space available to you at no cost. But we are also doing a little bit helping these companies also do some vetting to make sure that those that were impacted are the ones actually receiving the help that they need. And with that, I do encourage all of you to follow DO at Econ OPPLA, just because every time there's a new resource, we're kind of putting a line and blasting on social media and our website as fast as we can to ensure that you have the latest information. We're also going to be using the city of LA, and the county is also trying to do a lot of targeted marketing and outreach to businesses that have been impacted. So those businesses that have been impacted, we're going to use the Office of Finance with the City of LA and the TTC, the Treasurer Tax Collector information that we have in the county to reach out to those first as soon as the application becomes available. So thank you for your time, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Great. If you want to just pop your questions into the chat or to the Q&A. I'm watching them. We're going to get to them. I want to get to Rosa. She's got some other information to share, and then we'll take questions for both in just a few moments. So Rosa, take it away. From the City of Los Angeles, Department of Economic and Workforce Development.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Layla. I really appreciate all of the information that, Leila is sharing. Please, as a small business owner, take advantage of all of these resources. If you're finding yourself, having some challenges, please visit one of your local service providers so that they can help navigate. We know these are tough times for you, and we want to make sure that, we are, side by side with you in these difficult times. My name is Rosa Pinelos. I'm an Assistant Chief Grants Administrator with the City of Los Angeles Economic and Workforce Development Department. And as Leila mentioned, we're all in LA, right? This is our home, so we're all in this together. We know that these have been some very challenging times, but I want to focus today on some just immediate resources that I'd like to make sure that as a business owner, you are made aware. Our next slide talks about our tax, incentives, extensions that we are doing at this point. So the Office of Finance in the City of Los Angeles is now currently giving those businesses that were impacted by the wildfires an extension in filing their tax renewal. So this filing deadline now has been extended for anyone that was impacted until April 14 of 2025. And we are working on trying to see if there's even further extensions that we can provide. But again, if your business was impacted in any way by the wildfires, and you are in these particular zip codes in the City of Los Angeles, 90402, 90272, and 90049, please make sure that you follow this link that I've provided here on this slide and submit your request for the extension so that you don't have to encounter any additional fees and or challenges with your business tax renewal certificate. So we want to make sure that you would take advantage of that. In addition to that, the Office of Finance also has a small business tax exemption. And so I've also provided that information there. It's a specific criteria. They, actually created an easy to follow Google form that you can submit the information. And then most important, get this process going and someone will be in contact with you. And then that way you can either take advantage of the small business tax exemption and or, the extension for the business tax renewal. If you encounter any particular challenges, please feel free to contact the Office of Finance directly. They do have staffing available where they can lend the added support. And if not, the City of Los Angeles Economic and Workforce Development Department also has something that we call a business response unit. And so the business response unit, if you go to our website, you'll be able to contact us and then we will intervene on your behalf. So as a liaison, and within our city family, we would be able to intervene and lend the added support as needed. So I just want to make sure that, again, if you're a business owner in the City of LA, please take advantage of these resources for now. Our next slide talks about, if you are a business owner that is having challenges and might have to conduct some layoffs or has already done some layoffs, we have a rapid response unit to support not only your business, but also your workers. And so we want to make sure that you are aware that we have orientations that are being hosted on daily basis, 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. and then on Saturdays at 10 a.m. And I've provided here the QR code. Please feel free to join these orientations to learn more about the resources that are available for your workers in the event that they actually are already unemployed and need the added support. This is a collaboration, as you can imagine, with our employment, with EDD, whom processes the unemployment benefits. And so at least your employees can receive proper guidance and information and support from our work source centers and in the county, of course, known as our America's Job Centers of California. So we want to make sure that as a business, we know that these can be some very difficult times and difficult decisions. And I know last week we had a major presentation on our layoff aversion program. So we also want to make sure you take advantage of that. If there's anything that we can do to try to prevent any layoffs, we want to make sure that you take advantage of layoff aversion. But if you are already have submitted notices for unemployment due to the wildfires and the emergencies, we want to make sure that you take advantage of the wildfire recovery, rapid response orientations, and information. And our next slide is, again, as we become advocates on your behalf and as we are trying to do our absolute best to try to bring as much resources to Los Angeles and try to, cut down the red tape and try to make things seamless, very difficult as you can imagine, but we want to make sure that we hear from you. So if you have a few minutes of your time to fill out a survey, please do so. It allows us to then compile this information. It gives us, ammunition, right, on your behalf to be able to showcase what your needs are, what are the challenges that you're facing, and what is it that we really need to bring here to LA immediately. So with that, these are the few items that I have to share with you today. But again, as Leila has shared, we have, LA region, we're trying to make things easier. Instead of you having to go to so many different websites, take advantage of our, condensed LA region all-in-one services. Again, if you are a business in the city of Los Angeles, we have 10 business source centers that are equipped with professionals that understand the challenges that you're dealing with and that can try to expedite and be an advocate and a liaison on your behalf. We have our 14 work source centers throughout the city of Los Angeles that are known as America's Job Centers of California to help your workers and yourselves as a business, depending on what it is, what your needs are. And so with that, I think I turn it back over to you, John. And so, again, we want to make sure that we are providing up-to-date information. So stay tuned on our social media platforms, as well as our LA region website. And then if not, visit us at ewddlacity.com.
Great. Thank you so much, Rosa and Leila, for being here. I know there's been a number of questions. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the questions and use the Q&A feature first. I do see some hands raised. Just by nature of the way the system was set up, if you could type your question into the chat, that would be ideal. And if we can't get the answer for you today, we'll get you connected to the right person. But Morgan asked right at the top of the program about her business actually being open but impacted in West Malibu. She said that she has employees that live in LA and rely on PCH to get to work, but they are not able to access it. Is there a way for employees to get passes so they can actually get to work and get to and from work every day? Otherwise, they have to go all the way around the 405, 101, and then down the canyons, which is more expensive for their gas. And is there a grant for that or something to that effect? So I don't know if that's more of a Rosa or a Leila question. How could we help Morgan and her business?
So I'd like to be able to inquire as to what it is, how we can maybe acquire a pass, and we could definitely look into it and get back to you with a better response.
So, should Morgan email you, Rosa, or how should she connect with you directly? What would be
yes,
the appropriate, or should she drop her email and then you can follow up if she put her email in the Q&A?
That would be very helpful. Yes,
Morgan, if you could do that, we can follow up directly with you. Leila?
Yeah, I can also add that, this is something that's specific to workers. So I would also say I would recommend they go to actually to a business source center. A work source center or also an AGCC, because they can provide you so many different resources, not on just like transportation, but we're talking about cash assistance, food. There's so much that support that they may need. I think Rosa and I, we both focus really on business support more so than worker support. So I don't think we also have like, right. I don't think I can say that I have all the information that would really support this one worker that, you want to support. But the AGCCs and the workforce centers, they will know, like they'll do an assessment and provide, so many different resources that you wouldn't even, think of asking about today.
Thank you, Leila. That's wonderful. And as a matter of fact, the workers do, there is a relief, grant that they have available at all of these different work source centers and America's Job Centers of California, the AJCC. So definitely encourage you as a business owner to defer your workers over to those centers.
Great, thank you. And I think, like I said, if you can drop your email in the chat, someone will follow up directly from the city or the county. I see, Morgan, you did that. Thanks so much. I want to go back up towards the top of the questions. There was a question about idle loans, and that I'm not sure if we have the answer here today, but if someone has an existing idle loan, probably from COVID, many of us have those, does it prevent you from getting another one? And can you pay, that's question one, and can you pay off those loans with new funds from the idle? So can you use one idle loan to pay off the old idle loan and set things in motion?
Yeah, and I saw in the chat that there's somebody here from the SBA.
She had to jump off. Yeah.
Oh, he had to jump off. Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
I know there's a question that was asked before to the SBA, and I don't recall actually what the answer was. Rosa, do you remember? It was just it has been asked before.
It has been. I don't have the exact answer, but we can definitely come back and post that information.
Yeah. So my understanding from SBA is that you can apply for an additional idle loan for a different disaster. I don't have the answer to the second part, if you can use those funds to pay the back part back, but they do encourage everyone to apply. And in fact, I believe there's a deadline coming up, or at some point they've set for application for those resources. Leila, could you speak to that, or Rosa?
Yeah, I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I was told yesterday was March 4th. The deadline to apply for this. I don't know if that date could be changed. I don't know. One thing that I do, I know that SBA has been saying a lot, everybody's situation is very different. So what they have said is, talk to an SBA provider and they can kind of work with you. So I think, now that I remember what her answer was, it wasn't really about a blanket, answer, but it's just working with you to get to where you need to go. So they do highly, there are several different SBA centers that are including, there are also there are disaster resource centers as well. So do connect with an SBA provider and consultant. They'll provide you that information.
Great. And there's a couple more questions around EDD, and I know our EDD folks are not with us today, but I think we can carry them back. And maybe you have some information here about how long to expect if they file an EDD claim. Is that is there a common range right now that's being for that process and delivery of resources?
From past presentations, they haven't really shared an exact date, but I know they said they were waiving any waiting period.
Got it. Okay. And then we're going to get those links in the chat just shortly. And so we'll get that over to you. I have someone that says they're looking to get certified to bid on restoration work and hire workers. Is there a method to get certifications to be able to bid on these contracts? I know that both of you have contracting efforts. Can you speak to that a bit from the city and the county?
Yeah, we're doing a lot. We actually had a meeting this morning just on contracting, especially for even with the state and SBA. What we're trying to do here together is how can we expedite certification, small business certification, where are the contracts coming from? So this is the important part, where are the contracts coming from? And if the contracts are coming from the federal government, or the state, it really kind of helps you kind of understand where you need to get a certification first and foremost. So what we're trying to do right now, the conversation that I had this morning, we're trying to kind of layer on people that have already received certification and work on a process to expedite those certifications to make sure that people are getting their STEM.gov certification, etc. If you do need help, and I know the team is extremely busy because they're also on wildfire response, but we do have an office called APEX in the Office of Small Business, which I shared previously. And the Office of Small Business can kind of help you get certified and with any agency. we can go through that. But we're trying to do all we can to kind of help expedite these type of certifications. I don't know, Rosa, if you want to add anything to that.
Yes, as Leila mentioned, that's exactly what our initiatives as a city and county. But most important also, if you are looking for any contracting opportunities and support, we have our program named Procure LA that is operated by PACE as an organization. And if you need any, again, technical support and assistance and getting the information, that would be someone that I would recommend for you to contact and get additional assistance.
Great. There was a question. I'm just going to take some easy ones here because we're got about 6 minutes left. Teodoro asked if there's legal services available for businesses not affected by the wildfires. And I think the answer is yes. Leila, you want to just explain one more time about that legal program that you have up and running?
Yeah, LA Legal Help is actually with the city of LA, so is a partnership.
Okay.
But the program, because there's so many different attorneys from large firms, by the way, that want to volunteer to provide support, legal support to people that need it the most. So what happened is, so Beth Zedek and Public Counsel have come together and kind of created this LA Legal Help with the financial support of the city and the county of Los Angeles. And what we do together is really support businesses that, face, landlord issues or not even, and not only that, but what we're looking at is how can we prepare businesses before they get into legal troubles, right? So, looking at their contracts, looking at their establishing their business from beginning to end, where do you need legal support? I hope that kind of answers your question, but it's a lot, right? It's a lot included in that. And I want to say, even we're talking about even like protections, protecting from like, lawsuits, for instance, be it from employees or being from like some other ones, ADA related, they're there to really just support you every step of the way.
Great. I see that there's a couple more questions on EDD, and I think what we'll do is, Leila and Rosa, why don't we see if we can get that EDD rep to come back next week? Because there's about 5 different questions about EDD. And Joyce, I understand the frustration and getting the answer that you're looking for, because not every circumstance is cookie cutter, and everybody does have a unique circumstance, and we're trying to help facilitate that. And so we'll definitely copy your email as well and try to get back in touch with you. But I think for next week, we'll reach back out to EDD and get the EDD expert to be with us. And so we are also looking at a question about, there was a question, I'm sorry. If someone is a home-based business and lost their equipment, what funding might be available for tools or office equipment?
Yeah, our the LA Region Small Business and Worker Relief Fund, we put a set aside just to support someone just like you who has a home, had a business, from your home, and then lost your equipment and your inventory. The funding will support that. But in addition to that,
there's a question.
Yeah, but all the grants and the SBA loans that we share, those are also other resources for financial support. I don't want to say just our fund.
Great. So Andre's saying that there's an error at grantee.fema.gov. I think if you need that assistance with a federal agency or a state agency, you can go to one of the disaster assistance centers, resource centers, where those offices are available. You may want to consider that you're only targeting one agency, because it can be overwhelming when you go in and there's so many resources there. But again, they are designed to be as helpful as possible in those in-person settings. Those folks are trained to be a resource for you in this circumstance. And so while I don't have the answer for you here today, again, those resource centers are a great place to start if you have the ability, or accessing the technical assistance programs offered through the city, the county, and other partners like the LAEDC as well. There's a question here about the release, the Small Business Relief Fund grant. It's not planned on being released tomorrow. Layla and Rosa, do you want to give an update? It looks like maybe next week that they're trying to, is that the?
Yeah, tentatively Friday of next week.
Gotcha. There seems to be a specific request about a permit. You know, some of these questions, what we're doing is on Monday. We're going to go through with our team and try to get answers to these questions, and that'll help us plan for next Friday as well. But I think if you've put your email in there, someone from the appropriate jurisdiction will at least follow up with you and try to get clarity on what you're asking, because these are some very complicated questions, and we're trying to make sure that we're able to get those answers to everyone. I think before you all leave, I want to just thank Rosa and Layla and their teams for the information they're providing here today. But also, I want to ask all of you if you could use the Q&A, not the chat, and just tell us sort of what your number one issue might be in the chat. And you can do it anonymously, you can do it with your name connected to it. That'll help us make sure that we're advocating for you, as was mentioned earlier, and allow us to shape programming and to help develop resources to help our business community come back, not just what we were, but stronger than we were and more resilient. And so please, if you could, in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, just tell us what is like the number one, number two issues that you're facing that you think we could be working on to support you through this coalition of Together for LA that includes our partners at the city and county, but also the LA Area Chamber, the LA Economic Development Corporation, BizFed, LISC LA, Inclusive Action for the City, philanthropy partners, private sector partners. We're all trying to come together to shape our resources to support you. So hearing what you need is really helpful for us. So please let us know in the chat. And we look forward to being with you again next Friday at 11 a.m. Again, for more resources and a recording of this webinar, you can go to togetherforla.org, and that'll have the most up-to-date resources and recordings from these programs. Thank you very much.